everyone, thank you so much for joining us here on this beautiful day on the official LCS page for week number 2 of Proving Grounds, day number 2 for week number 2. Here I am, Jolly. I will be apparently your play-by-play for the day, and I'm joined by the ever wonderful, that way, Alec Battery. How are we feeling today, Alec?
Yeah, I'm excited. We've got some really great games, and honestly, we've got even an amateur team today. So we're blessed with our wins from coming in from amateur. I'm excited to see what we get from not only the academy teams, but Zeus later on today. It should be an exciting set of games.
Yeah, the academy teams, of course, are going to be taking on this first one. As we know, we have Dignitas Academy going into FlyQuest Academy, and then later in the day, as you said, it's going to be Zeus going into Immortals. So a lot of fun games coming up here. These are going to be best of threes, as we can see the top portion of that bracket. TLA took down to C9 Amateur 2-0. And, you know, I think for today's matchups, we're really anticipating this first set of games, DIGA and FlyQuest Academy, to be the tightest or the closest set of games. But, you know, it's hard to determine now because these teams are all over the place. There's so much progression, in particular, I would say, with like Dignitas Academy and FlyQuest Academy. The later game is a little bit more up in the air, a little bit more flip-flop for Immortals and Zeus. But I know that there are a lot of fan-favorite players and a lot of fan-favorite teams out here. So let's take another look at the rounds as we go forward, Al.
This is the lower bracket here. We saw 100X. They took an 0-2 to Cloud9 Academy, who are looking good. And even round 2, you see right there in the lower bracket, C9, both sides of that day. It's going to be 100% win rate, 100% loss rate on the day. But also, we've got Immortals Academy and Zeus, who, like you said, two different trajectories for these teams. Zeus took a very close series against FlyQuest, ended up going down, obviously, and IMT, who are losing, in fairness, to a team in Dignitas Academy last week who are on fire. This team in Dignitas, they are literally undefeated up until this point right now. So a lot of people coming out of Academy, we had some question marks for Dignitas, and on the Proving Grounds podcast, Laurel even talked about UGP and, you know, even potentially playing in some other amateur tournaments earlier on, really saved this team and being able to find their voice, find their direction. It has been kind of night and day from end of Academy to now where Dignitas Academy is at.
I think it was 12 out of the 14 games for UGP were actually taken as victories here for Dignitas. Yes. So, and I'm very happy about that. As we know, we had predictions, you know, for those games, and I was going DIGA all the way, even though they weren't looking so clean towards the end of the last little bit. But my goodness, this team has really turned around, and so, you know, I gotta say, I guess if we're doing predictions, I do have to say I'm expecting a full 3 games on this one. I do expect FlyQuest to take one, but I got a pretty good feeling that with how Dignitas has been improving themselves over the last couple of months, that they're going to be able to take this one.
I think this is a really awesome matchup to watch just because we have so many players, not only from amateur, but also who have been playing in Academy for the past couple of splits. I'm looking at people like, just even going top to bottom, right? We're talking about Will versus NXI, 2 amateur junglers who were brought up from the amateur scene into Academy. NXI, who is just, even when they made the swap on FlyQuest Academy to the LCS, NXI was the talk of the town on the broadcast, and every Reddit thread was, dude, where did NXI come from? The 100 Thieves next pipeline is way too massive, and Will has been tearing up a lot of after a few stumbling blocks at the beginning of Academy this split, or after the swap. This guy has been really, really awesome. A young 16-year-old jungler who's just, everybody has been gushing about him, and I want to see what this new kind of line of talent works in with a FlyQuest who did take 3rd, 4th in the playoffs, did end up going all 5 games up against Cloud9 Academy, and still are kind of looking to prove themselves. This is the one PG last. Yeah, I think it was a reverse sweep. I'd have to look back at the series again, but literally this team didn't play a single amateur team last Proving Grounds. They played only other Academy teams, and in the first round, they end up winning against Zeus, and they're going up against Dignitas today. We'll get more. We'll be able to talk more about this during the best of 3, but I'm in love with these two.
Absolutely, these two teams, and we've seen a lot of FlyQuest Academy. I'm sure if you guys were watching LCS, you saw a few, gosh, I can't even tell time anymore. It's post-COVID, so I don't even know if it was months or weeks ago. But, you know, the full Academy roster playing for the LCS team and winning. Doing an exceptional job. So a lot of swaps for this team from that point. And I think that's going to be the biggest part in kind of watching how FlyQuest begins to develop now, because Dignitas has had, a bit more of a well-rounded team, or a little more cohesion towards like the top mid side than FlyQuest has had it towards the recent parts. But I still do expect that the game is really going to focus and center around that area still. There is just so much pressure right now put in by jungles, and it's kind of flip-flop from being in the scene for so long, what I'm used to, being that island of a top lane, just kind of sit and wait for your opportunity to get in. Now it's kind of the opposite, and it's really the bottom lane, where if a team decides to put all of their focus from the jungle and the mid towards the bottom, it's somewhat surprising. However, it can really sway things. But the top side, the bruisers are just so darn strong right now. The items for bruisers are still too darn strong right now. The advantage being taken there is really big. In particular, Lorlo is one that loves to pull out some crazy stuff. Philip as well. I think that we're going to be seeing really just a lot of focus there. You've had, the Camille come out for Lorlo a lot recently. You have had the Aatrox, I think the Poppy coming out, the Renekton from the side of FlyQuest Academy. So, a lot of really good options here and a lot of really solid carries moving forward. But what is your feeling on how this game is going to play out, really, where the focus is going to be for these two teams?
So, two things just off the bat. Triple versus Saligo. Saligo is just... Saligo's so good, man. Saligo's so good. All the way from playing on LCS, playing in Academy. One of the best mids here in North America so far. Just rising talent still. This guy needs to get onto a team, please. Gonna cross my fingers for him. There's a huge Saligo gang out in chat somewhere. But these two have been putting huge priority on what we've seen very powerful on the patch, which is Twisted Fate and Rise. They have been putting in time, and Dignitas Academy have really started to play on that playing globals from mid strategy. A lot of their team is focused on just playing team fight comps that are not super difficult to play. We're seeing Malzahar, we're seeing Twisted Fate, Rise, a little bit of Lissandra as well from Saligo, just doing everything he can to help Will. Same thing for Triple, playing the Azir, playing the Rise to help NXI, who, again, we have two carry junglers looking to kind of just butt heads and try to win the game for their teams. Viego, I expect to be really high priority. Same thing with Xin Zhao for these two. Those are the two players on each team that I'm like most keyed in on. And I want us to do a special note. I want everybody at home to please continue to watch Philip. He had a fantastic game last week. He had some counter matchups up against one of the best top laners in amateur in Alorum, who's always known to play these, tank deficit style top laners. And he did a fantastic job, mostly on Aatrox, but still, I'm super excited to see this guy who, this guy was on, he was playing on an amateur team that just barely didn't make Proving Grounds or Scouting Grounds last year. And now he's already here and has kind of proven to be somewhat unbroken against a lot of the other Academy top laners. So small pivot for him, but I'm rooting for some of the FlyQuest boys.
We are in it. Absolutely.
This
is a team that has shown so much progression. And again, with the adjustments that we've had to make because so many players have moved on to different teams, have moved up to the primary rosters for these. Just like I mentioned, a little bit more cohesion for the Dig players themselves, but that is not something to say to discount FlyQuest Academy whatsoever. We're going to start off with the bans, though, as we are in the first phase. Ziggs is going to be the first from Dignitas. FlyQuest respond with that on the Gnar. So the Gnar ban away actually might give a little bit of a key to what they're planning on playing, or the fact that they might be focusing the top side of the map here.
They just know that Lorlo is going to play this champion in a lot of matchups. They're willing to get rid of that.
Good counter.
I was wondering what was going to happen with the bot lanes, because Spawn and Johnson are very much hand in hand when it comes to their teams. Typically, FlyQuest Academy, either with Tomo or with Johnson, have played a lot of really nice carry champions. Same thing with Spawn, who has stuff like the Tristana, things like the Xayah. I was wondering what kind of focus we were going to see on either side. And I like this attention from Dignitas, kind of spreading out their focus. But Lee Sin, super awesome for NXI in their performance, especially in Game 2 of their series up against Zeus. And then Thresh is obviously so important for things like Aphelios.
I was wondering where the Camille ban was going to be for Lorlo. 3 bans away. Granted, you've got a little bit of flexibility with two of those with Camille and the Aurelia. The Aurelia seen pretty consistently in the mid lane there, but that is a lot of focus trying to staunch out Lorlo in the early parts of this game. But Dignitas is okay with that. Very, very high priority ADC right now. That piercing arrow, just insane. If you can actually land those chains of corruption, could really make a big difference in a team fight. It's going to be locked in for the Ferris, but that means that FlyQuest Academy have the opportunity to lock in this Rise for Triple. Not only is that a good pick for Triple, but also taking away a really high priority pick from Saligo.
Yeah, this should mean that now Saligo kind of has his options. What other control mage is he going to go for? Are we going to see the handshake for Dignitas where they give away the Rise, they take the Twisted Fate side of the matchup, and it allows now for the different junglers to come out. Viego, like we're talking about, Xin Zhao here, potentially for Dignitas. They could pivot and take a Trundle here if they want for JJ. Something that JJ actually ended up talking about in their interview last week was the biggest problem for Dignitas Academy in the past was Spawn and JJ weren't exactly syncing up, and now they feel super confident that, you know, they both know what they want to get out of the matchup. They both know what they want to do in the duo lane, and it's really started to show for them as Dignitas, they go ahead. We've got the handshakes, Jolly. It's just them.
I figured it was either going to be Twisted Fate or potentially Syndra, but that hasn't been as much of a big, a pick recently for Saligo. Twisted Fate, though, being able to get the hard lockdown onto Triple in that opposing lane will really allow Will to come through and just access that mid lane, get a lot of early pressure, and there it is. I mentioned the Jace having been picked up here by Philip in a very, very successful game. I think in the last Proving Grounds game that we just saw them win. So feeling confident on that one. There is so much damage right now on the side of FlyQuest Academy's lineup. They also have a lot of soak, though. You know, Viego can stay alive for much longer than he needs to once he's got a couple items under his belt. Same thing with Triple on that Rise. Is going to be able to have quite a bit of survivability, especially getting the Rune Prism and the W to throw some damage down and try to, at least send the enemy back as far as possible. So I really like what FlyQuest Academy is going in with. On the other side, Dignitas Academy is just like, we're taking power picks. We're taking massive power picks that we know work very well. And yes, they're good into the counters here because we do have the TF pick to the Rise. But I'm loving what I'm seeing from both of these teams. It is a lot of confidence, and it's a lot of early game pressure that they're both looking for.
I like this. I'm a little bit afraid for playing for any Jace player that has to play against TF. As soon as you see a Twisted Fan enemy team, you're like, all right, well, I really hope my jungler is going to be here, or someone's going to be able to roam. Obviously, Twisted Fate will be able to get to that lane a lot faster than Rise will. And for FlyQuest Academy here, they're going to have to blind something. I would like to see them pick support so that they can try to play a little bit more around this marksman role and see what they can try to get out of. You see already Dignitas, they're getting rid of the Lulu. I think they want to try and force FlyQuest onto something like an Ashe. If not, you can try to go for something a little bit more defensive, but I think that trying to play Philios into this composition for Johnson, the execution might be a little problematic, and they got rid of it.
They got rid of it anyway. Yeah, I mean, okay, the Rakan, I was going to say the Xayah has been really strong. I absolutely love the Xayah. It's kind of hard with Varus because of the range that he's able to keep back. Being able to land the piercing arrow, trying to line up the feathers so you can get the blade collar is a little bit difficult sometimes in that matchup, but I am a Xayah main. I think that she's still so underrated and have been for a while, just because once it gets to the team fight stage, being able to throw out the feather storm, get the blade collar, whether you hit one member or 4 or 5 members, it doesn't matter, but the Akshan is going to be a lock in here for Dig Academy. That's no joke right there, folks.
Where is Akshan going top lane? Is this what we're doing? Because I mean, this champion is not a support. You have a mid laner. He's not going bot lane, obviously. So I think Lorlo has just picked up Akshan into this champion now.
You're gonna make me pass Akshan right off the bat, man.
Dude, we haven't been able to. No one's been able to see this champion.
Nobody's picked it. I don't think I've actually casted this champion yet, at least in play-by-play. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've played a lot of this champion. Now we'll get into some of the nitty gritty in case everybody once you get into the game. But they get themselves the Alistar. So now what is the answer here for FlyQuest? You're probably going to be playing weak side bot lane. So I like the Xayah. You can try to go for another champion that's pretty good by themselves. And I think that maybe we start to see something like, I was going to say Ashe, but I guess Ezreal's the one to pick here.
Ezreal is. That's an instant lock-in right there. So Johnson and Dreams can be on the... I mean, this is hyper-aggressive. It is also very safe because you have the shielding coming through from Dreams. You have the potential for the pop-up so that Johnson can either get in or get out, and then, be able to get that shielding back up there. But it's a very scary position if Spawn, once there's that level 6, if Spawn manages to get down the chains of corruption, then you just get JJ on the backside to get that headbutt pulverize on. It's going to be really rough for FlyQuest Academy, and that means that in this matchup, it's really interesting since Lorlo has picked this Akshan. NXI has to really, really determine here what the pressure needs to be. Like you said, Philip has the opportunity to put a lot of pressure down towards the mid side, so I do think that NXI is going to kind of have to focus on pressuring the bottom lane, which we're not as used to anymore. But again, the amount of damage that they have on this FlyQuest Academy team means that if they're able to pop off early, they should be able to continue that snowball through. DIGA Academy have a lot more initiation later game though, so if FlyQuest Academy doesn't get an early lead or early push here, I can easily see DIGA Academy really taking over towards the mid game.
This is just, I think, classic Dignitas Academy when I look at this draft. This is a team that so far throughout UGP and in Proving Ground so far is they have shown excellent kind of mindfulness for when it comes to globals and TP plays as well. You could see it in the last series versus IMTA where they had a really good strategy to get back into the game after a couple of Baron flubs, and I love to see it here. That's still they're kind of sticking to their guns. And Jolly, we're into game one here of Dignitas versus FlyQuest. This is going to be a lot of fun because right now Akshan is a really weird state where you can still go for on hit, but they've been trying to get rid of power in his E, the heroic swing, which has been so devastating. And for someone like Philip on this Jace, I am excited to see him on Jace because the three-wave plan that he had against Alorum in game one of their series last week was awesome. And I want to see if he can try to replicate it here. If he can try to slowly build up a wave. They're trying to bait this out. See if they can get something from Philip. But a simple ward and starting the W here for Jace.
Yeah, starting the W there. It's a safe way to continue to pressure the lane. But especially when you've got Lord Low here on the Akshan. Maybe our new Lucian, I think, just the amount of mobility that you got, that kind of what Akshan has to offer there. Maybe similar in style to that. So I think that's kind of what they're looking for, getting the dirty fighting in right. But I'm mostly stoked to see how this comeuppance works because I have played a few games with Akshan. I played against Akshan a few games. Really haven't seen him that much, to be honest, in like standard and ranked and anything, because I think people just haven't quite figured him out, especially that, I gotta say, that heroic swing, I still can't get that down. I still cannot land that. It's not like a hook shot.
Yeah, it takes a few games to get used to. It's definitely one of the more unique abilities Riot has come up with, and again, they have taken a lot of power out of it, taken about 80 damage off of it just from it being maxed first, and the comeuppance, the ultimate here, is really, it's not as good as in lane. You can do a little bit of turret damage, but that's not really obviously what you're looking for. The big thing is when you get into these open air objective fights, when you're looking at something like this, you see already utilizing the passive, Philip.
My goodness. Like I said, dirty fighting, man. That is the appropriate name for that passive on Akshan. I mean, it really just feels like it, especially in an initiation like that. Triple's going to take quite a bit of damage here. Has to use the Corrupting Potion, but still has 2 available. And not too surprised that we are just seeing everybody kind of stalemating here. A lot of pressure from Lorlo towards the top side, but until we get a few clears in the jungle for both of these teams, we're not going to see some early aggression like we were seeing in the previous games. I mean, we're this far in Proving Grounds as well, especially with Dignitas being undefeated so far. They are wanting to go through and continue on this winning streak. FlyQuest looking to end that, though, and put a little bit more shine to their name moving forward.
We might get a little bit of action here, though, as Will is looking for something to do right here. He's gone for a modified clear, did only 4 of his camps, but looking for something on a triple. Scouting ward, ooh, gets the gold card, but we'll be just looking. But both junglers are here, so they know Viego where they are generally. You can see the pings coming out from Dignitas Academy. They can either go for a double scuttle or protect Lorlo on this wave crash as he tries to get something done.
What they decide to do here too, because we got some pings coming out towards the lower scuttle, and some assistance necessary as they might want to kind of push that out. Xin Zhao is going to be moving down though, so it's a lot of communication here with Dignitas. It seems like they're making these moves, and then FlyQuest Academy is like, hey, what's going on? Where are they? What are they doing? We might need something over here, but a lot of coordination moving forward for Dignitas Academy to start this one out. Very low mana here for Varus, hits the piercing arrow. There's not going to be much more than just some pressure here. Dignitas having a lot of priority on this dragon.
See this? They're pinging it out. They want to go for a lane, but they want to go for a lane gank. This is a pretty nice wave that's starting to build for FlyQuest, and they need to be able to crush it. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty dangerous. Here we go. Spawn.
There it is. W here's entrance there coming through. It's going to be the head, but it's going to be the pulverize to pop them all up. Will waiting in the wings. Nobody sees him. A flash forward from Spawn in response as the ignite comes out. exhaust from Dreams there. NXI is going to be the target here. That red buff going right over to Varus. Spawn, first blood. JJ taking a lot of damage, but it won't be enough as Spawn finds himself a second kill. Meanwhile, up in the top side, Lorlo and Sligo trying to find another kill for themselves. So Dignitas get themselves a 2-0 to start the game out.
What a beautiful set of plays on multiple sides of the map there. Dignitas playing not only enticing FlyQuest to try and get something done on this bot side, but in the top lane, they see that Triple has already TP'd to mid, so guess what? I, as Soligo, am going to TP into the top lane and get this flash away from Philip. So now, low resources into the top lane. This is fantastic. We'll get a replay here. This is the beginning of the dive, and Dignitas, they're playing it really patiently. They know, hey, Rakan's the only one hitting me right now. Johnson isn't able to walk up thanks to all of these minions. And then this right here, as soon as NXI sees this flash, all of us, the big red signs come out. It's like, oh no, this has gone south immediately. And they're able to get a bunch of kills, get a bunch of summoners as well from the bot lane. So I love this start here for Dignitas, just playing on multiple sides of the map and playing really, really patiently.
JJ's patience on that one in particular is very, very impressive. Waiting towards the end there, but really focusing on positioning to try to not allow that secondary member to get out in Dreams. So being able to kind of corner him off, get the headbutt at the perfect time, and allowing, again, Spawn picking up that red buff right off the bat, getting a double kill to start things out, has 150 gold bounty on his head. It's super far behind, but that gold card's going to hit the W there from Dreams moving in. It's going to be a lockdown on NXI, who might go down one more time, trying to escape from this one. That won't be the case. Will takes the kill. There's the gold card. Triple has ultimate, but not going to be able to use it right now here. Thanks to the help of Dreams, though, he does stay alive.
That was just, I mean, JJ is popping off, and this is a player who made huge improvements. Never mind, we can't stop right now. It's time.
No, we can't. Destiny's coming through. It's going to be a hop back in by Philip Wentz, taking a lot of damage there. The Mystic Shot doesn't come through,
my Soligo.
Lorlo be able to pop off some damage. And Soligo, how many times has he been, I mean, this close. You can't see, but my fingers are really close together right now. This close to dying.
10 HP, like sub 20 HP living off of that turret. That is just full trust in your top laner in Lorlo. And that is back-to-back plays, literally one after the other. They're trying to find something in mid, and it was a good start there for FlyQuest. But JJ reads the play. He knocks up the two damaging members in NXI and Triple. So the entire time, I mean, we get to watch it again. Watch JJ here. Triple knocked up. NXI knocked up as well. All of the damage stopped by Alistair. And then they just make the return play here. And after this, Soligo has a bunch of resources, has a ton of health. And they notice, hey, we can just go topside. Destiny Gate. Here it comes from Soligo. And Philip with no flash, no teleport. This is a great time to go for this. Force them off the wave. Make him lose experience in gold. Dignitas Academy playing about as cleanly as we expected them to. And still finding their bread and butter. That is just literally 10 HP. 10 HP on Lorlo and Soligo. So, bravo.
Absolutely. Bravo. Very well done. They're looking at close to a 2K gold lead, 3K gold lead here, about 2.5 for Dignitas Academy at 7.5 minutes in, almost 8 minutes in. Actually, that's feeling pretty good. That is a very confident play, and they've had pressure on really all of these lanes for the majority of the game. I mentioned that NXI would probably have to put a lot of focus on the bottom side. That's what's happened, but it hasn't been successful. I also mentioned before the game started that Will would be focusing more towards the mid side. That has been successful. So everything that FlyQuest needed to kind of find early on, not only did they not find, but they attempted to respond to Dignitas Academy, and it just did not end up going in their favor. In particular, Will, this young player, legitimately just got out of school, just got home to play these games. I mean, absolutely insane to be able to have the capacity to get through school and really pop off heavy in this first game. 4-0 is the score, though, less than 9 minutes in. And FlyQuest has to make some moves really quickly. They need to find some pressure and some kills, potentially making a move on this dragon, but Dig is making everything just incredibly hard.
See you, losers. I gotta go win PG. See you guys later. Right. I gotta go beat up on some other academy teams. Will is continuing to impress as a young jungler and a great addition to Dignitas Academy, who I think on all cylinders are starting to fire off here. When we're looking at this bot lane matchup, I mean, you're playing Ezreal, you want Rakan to be able to roam, and we're seeing that now. The AD carries are starting to kind of read this. They know that this Rift Trail play is here, but unable to answer this FlyQuest. They can't find a kill. They're all loitering here trying to get this, and I love that Lorlo is able to use the going rogue because, I mean, now he's just off vision. You don't know where this guy is, and when the wave comes back, you have to think, what kind of player are we going for? So FlyQuest, they're prepping for this. They want to control the river on top side. They want to stop Akshan from continuing to scale. They're getting more and more gold than this guy. They want to crash this turret and get something for Philip.
Gotta commend Johnson for being alone for a good portion of this. We saw Rakan try to move up. We saw Dreams move up to try to help Triple in that previous fight. It did save Triple's life, but he ended up going down in the bottom fight. So we've had a lot of early roam from Dreams, but Johnson has maintained,
Run, Triple!
This whole game. That's going to be a headbutt coming in from Jay. And forward, Ligo is going to find the gold card, but Will takes the kill. That 3v1 is not going to go in your favor. Dignitas secure themselves over 3K.
And now, because they've over-indexed into this topside play to, if we could just take a look at the top lane, to just get one single plate, thanks to the Destiny Gate as well, to be able to see so many members. Lorlo trying to go in, waiting for JJ here. Philip has flash. Can he get out? Comeuppance.
There it is. Oh my goodness. JJ, an absolute master, utilizes the flash there to get in with the headbutt pulverize. It'll be another kill. Going over to Lorlo, 6-0 now, and the Rift Herald is coming out in this bottom lane. There are still just a little over 3 minutes left for plates going into this one. They might not find this tower. They might though. There's a lot of pressure from Dignitas.
Couple minions.
FlyQuest is hurting more and more here.
Okay, so the turret stays, but that's mostly just a formality thanks to Dignitas than anything else. That top play is still having rippling effects here just because of the fact that that just happened. They were not only able to get that kill onto Philip, but Varus got alone time on that turret like we just saw. Got so much damage, and they're able to punish mid at the same time. Twisted Fate is so flexible. We really haven't seen Triple enter any of these other waves. So FlyQuest are just losing gold hand over fist right now, while Dignitas are coming out huge on every single one of these trades.
And, taking a look at items, we can see the Youmu's finish there at the first item right off the bat for spawn. We saw the chunk of that piercing arrow, taking down more than a quarter health off of Johnson's health bar. Gotta feel good maintaining creep score into this losing lane, especially, like I mentioned, with Dreams having some early roam there. But sitting at 6-0 now, about 12 minutes in, 5K gold differential in favor of Dignitas. That is absolutely massive right now. It's Ligo. Not going to get caught out. It's not that easy to catch out Ligo here, even with 2 members of FlyQuest Academy.
They really want to try and get him off the mid wave here, or force some kind of summoner. The ultimate is coming up. Destiny Gate will be available in a few seconds here, so this next wave is going to be so important. You see already on opposite sides, Dignitas is getting the dragon, and you see JJ invading onto this bot side. They're going to get first turret for themselves and going to look to try and either, brace down mid. No, Will, you got to finish it, buddy. There you go. You see both supports are here. They want to go for this. They want to force them off the wave, get more plates for themselves. It's 2 plates mid, and they've got to... Oh, they do. Yeah, never mind. They've got 2 plates mid. They want to do something. You see them all moving here. I thought they had Rift Herald for some reason.
Oh my gosh, so much damage coming from Will. That means Triple has to back away from this one. The corrupting potion really
look at Lorlo.
For this player. Philip takes a lot of damage here. It is going to be the ultimate to come out as well from Lorlo on the top side. In the meantime, JJ takes quite a bit of damage, but that's exactly what Nalistar wants to do while there's pressure in the mid side. We go.
Imagine trying to play against this champion. Lorlo could try to dive, does have the heroic swing here, is going to try and go for it, has flash, dirty fighting.
There it is, dirty fighting, get him the revenge-a-rang. That's a beautiful, that's what I can't do in terms of the heroic swing. That is beauty right there, the full maximum range coming all the way around the tower. Yes, flash had to utilize, but I'm pretty sure Lorlo's A-okay with that.
This champion is ridiculous when it comes to sustain. You already has the shield bow for himself, and with the dirty fighting shield that he gets, all the Jace damage that normally would stick is going into temporary HP in the shield. So Dignitas, they're constantly making plays onto the side lane. This Jace has played with almost very little resources from the side of FlyQuest Academy, and they're slowly starting to get choked out. We're talking about the gold, we're talking about the time. It's barely 14 minutes. Turret plate just fell, and we already have a turret that's dead. Top lane is about to fall, and it's 7,000 gold here for Dignitas.
That's huge. At 14 minutes in, the place just fell 15 seconds ago. That's absolutely massive. That's only one tower's worth. That's only one dragon. And yes, they have gotten all the objectives, all right? They have gotten that single tower that's taken the Rift Herald, where they managed to find that first tower a little bit later, thanks to the pressure provided. But so much damage in plates. And I talked before the game even started, after we saw the drafts, that FlyQuest Academy needs to find early advantage, early pressure, because the later this game goes, the easier it's going to be for JJ and Will to initiate these fights. And having a backline like Akshan, TF, and Varus, you've got so much range, you have so much more potential for initiation. If you want to use the Destiny's Gate to get farther in, if you want to use the Akshan heroic swing to also get in, it's just getting worse and worse for FlyQuest, and it never was good for them, unfortunately, for this game.
They didn't put a lot of resources into topside. We were hoping to see that Dreams would be able to sync up with NXI and for them to start to continue to kind of bully out the top lane. Make sure that this Akshan, as a squishy marksman, if it gets ahead, it's obviously really nice, but from behind, Akshan is pretty useless. I'll tell you that. It's from a couple games, if this champion cannot use the heroic swing, it is very difficult for them to pop off. So we're still waiting here for FlyQuest, but getting choked out, and now with 2 tier 1 turrets down, this mid turret is a huge part of FlyQuest, whether or not they can continue to stay in this game. If that tier 1 goes down, they lose so much for it. And look at where they're kind of rotating right now. They're all sitting towards the bot side. Drag's in a minute 40, and the rest of Dignitas are all top side.
And it's going to be Lorlo going in for another initiation. Philip says, not this time. Back off just a little bit right here for me.
They want this.
It's going to be jumped on. There it is. The quickness comes out.
Oh, nice.
He's going to take tower aggro on that one. They will manage to pick up their first kill of the game right there from FlyQuest Academy. It ended up going over to NXI.
And look at how they're playing this right now. They put so much vision into the bot side of the jungle here, into Dignitas' side, that they want to be able to protect Triple. This is something that we've seen time and time again for them. They're investing a lot in Triple, who has the most farm in PG, has had one of the most farm games up against Zeus last week, and is constantly putting up really impressive CSD numbers, but mostly on Rise. And I want to see them be able to actualize this advantage that they seem to get for themselves, where Rise is in a solo lane trying to do all that they can, but the games may not end as good for them. Triple going in. No, ultimate?
The ultimate used to escape, and it comes through, so Triple manages to get out right now. But will it be enough as Will is coming through? It's going to be the flash forward, and another
they're going on
there for Will. That also means that on the backside, Philip is alone. It's going to be a flash over the wall. Ignite was applied by JJ, but will be another surviving member of FlyQuest. And you kind of wonder, yes, you've got all this aggressive damage down towards the bottom side, but you're so far behind in gold, you're so far behind in pressure. You might have gotten that one tower from that bottom side, but look at the aggressive vision. And yes, a lot of it was just cleared out, but Dignitas obviously going to throw some aggressive vision down. I think FlyQuest needs to focus a little bit more on defensive vision now that they have a second tier tower about to go down here towards the bottom side. It might be something that can stop Philip, but not a tier so. Now at this point, FlyQuest really has to change their strategy there. You can't just keep Will alive and allow him to push to be solo.
Philip is just like, man, this feels so difficult right now for the side of FlyQuest. Dignitas are basically playing with all of vision turned on. Imagine if you had God vision. That's what they have. They are moving in their vision. They're going to reset and try to put some more wards down as they come back and redeploy out onto the map. But you have Akshan, who can move incredibly fast in between lanes thanks to the Scoundrel passive and thanks to going rogue. You just look at the gold in between lanes. Every single member of Dignitas Academy is getting paid. Maybe it's the QNTMPAY, maybe it's something else, but they are making sure that their pockets are lined and heavy as they are constantly trying to get gold onto Triple. Try to get him to be a 1v9 character, because Jace is gonna be hampered for a long time. So Lego gets spotted. Oh, he uses it. It's so good for them.
NXI is there, though. He did not see NXI, so the charm's going to come through and will be another
so
kill.
Good. Here we
go. Over to NXI. The teleport coming through. That one's going to be jump on Triple, who flashes away. Will separating that fight out. A nice lockdown onto Lorlo. The Docs coming out as well. A beautiful pulverized from
Wait, he's going to respawn.
The rest of Spawn has a lot of damage. Will moving forward, continuing this fight. The respawn does come through. Out comes the ultimate as well from Akshan. And give him a triple kill as they end up wiping everyone but Johnson from the FlyQuest Academy team. Dignitas looking to lock this one down quicker than later.
Oh my god. This is what we call, at least in my friend group, as soon as you get an Action respawn, that's tempo gaming right there. Instantly is able to TP into the mid lane. You can stop any attempt at getting another turret. And they're going to recall, and we're probably going to see a replay of this fight. An excellent engage. This is now twice where it's taken 3 of the members with some pretty excellent engage from Dreams and from NXI to find this kill. And right here is where it's a little bit messy because you need to be able to protect Triple, and look at who's doing damage right now. Will is able to solo out Triple, and the rest of Dignitas can focus out on NXI. You see that JJ is doing a fantastic job just keeping him locked down. And with all the resets, comeuppance as well, I mean, this champion just does so much. Has another reset with Heroic Swing. Man, Lorlo was not kidding on Proving Ground spot. He was ready to pull this champion out, and I'm glad that it's kind of found a home, and it's looked really, really good in this one.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, having the ability to, I think, having the ability to use the Heroic Swing while you've got comeuppance charging up is massive for this player and the style that he likes to play, too. In comes Destiny's Gate, and that is absolutely going to be a dead Philip.
Goodbye, Jace.
Digo finding yet another one. The red buff now going over to Dignitas. They are positioning for a Baron.
Alright guys, so this should just be their Baron. Now, NXI can go for this, but I like this trade instead. Push in the mid lane, try to get this turret, but they want to fight instead. Here we go, Dignitas.
Goes in, gets charmed.
Oh no.
Quickness there, it's just Dreams and Johnson. Now JJ did take a lot of damage, but the piercing arrow knocking Dreams down to about half health. They're going to have to disconnect from this fight, and now Dignitas says, okay, I think we're good from there.
Will goes over to his chicken nuggets, says, hey, I'm just going to finish this off. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Rise is just taking this turret, whittling away, trying to do as much as possible to stop this push. But it's just not enough for FlyQuest Academy. They don't have control of the mid lane. They never ended up breaking this mid-tier 1 to try and help out with either Jace or with this Rise. And we're seeing it time and time again. Anytime that FlyQuest wants access to mid lane, someone is able to answer, whether it's a teleport from Saligo or multiple members kind of just raring up for a fight. Dignitas are always willing to be and always willing to match FlyQuest Academy out on the map.
So many pings as well coming out right now from Dignitas saying, all right, we're going to move in on this. We know that FlyQuest has been trying to position for the Dragon many, many times, usually at like a minute and a half before the spawn because there's so much pressure from Dignitas on the early side. And right now it's about a minute in. They throw down some vision. That's the most they can do though because Dignitas recognizes exactly what's happening and decides, all right, we can just push in the middle lane. Sure, get the Dragon, FlyQuest. We'll just win the game with Baron minions.
They're knocking on base right now, and this happened in one of their games up against Zeus where they were trying to split push. They didn't let Triple reset here, and Triple is going to continue going on for the base. They recognize that not many other people can try to outmatch the range right now from Dignitas in terms of their engage, but this is really dangerous here. They're going to end the game.
They're going to end the game. You got the recalls coming through from both Philip and Triple right now. All of Dignitas just massacring these towers, and this could spell the end of the game here. They just need to focus on that Nexus. Dreams will be a target now on the other side. A lot of damage. Philip ends up going down. It is Lorlo who loses life right there at the end, but there should be enough damage right now for Dignitas to end game number 1 in a very oppressive manner.
That was a fantastic game coming out from Dignitas, and I just want to say again, when you have a Jace, it's really tough to play when there's a Twisted Fate. Now, that lane did get a little bit hairy. We saw that the level 1, he was just using the Dirty Fighting passive, getting the shield from the auto hit passive. I don't know what to say. It's so difficult to play Jace, and obviously they took advantage of that. Dignitas Academy playing to their side lane. Saligo being a rather selfless mid laner. We've seen it time and time again. It's part of their success strategy that they've had for the past month and a half almost. I wonder what comes into game 2 though, Jolly, because now, do we really want to make this handshake again? Do we want to give those over to them?
That's really tough. It was 3 early bans. Was it 4 total? Or 3 or 4 total bans on the top side? And still a losing lane. At that point, you have to do something about those bans. Clearly, it's not going to be a possibility to ban out Lorlo. Maybe take away the Camille. But aside from that, he's got his pick of the litter. This is no kiddie pool for his champ pool right here. This is like the deep end. You have to be this tall, otherwise you can't be on the diving board. And That's what we're looking at here. So to have 3 to 4 bans against this top laner, and that top lane still fall very, very heavily with Akshan getting far ahead early on, I think it was a good attempt at a composition here. You have a lot of mobility from most everyone. You have a lot of potential, but it's not as much as I'd like for the initiation. The initiation you've got is like Viego and Rakan. That's not really top tier initiation, especially on the other side when you are looking at a Xin Zhao and an Alistar. So I'd like to see a little bit more frontline, a little bit more survivability, and maybe some late game opportunities here for FlyQuest Academy, because I said at the very beginning before the game even started, if they falter in this early game, it's going to be the most difficult thing to recover, because the composition on the side of Dignitas is designed for potentially falling behind and reinitiating, but they didn't fall behind. So everything went up, turned up for Dignitas Academy in this game number 1. You have the opportunity now for FlyQuest to move over to the blue side to get that first pick, see if maybe that's something that will work in their favor for, but I really can't see 4 bans again towards the top side and then a lane that comes through like that.
It's not his fault, but I want to get into draft. I want to get into draft too. So I think, I have nothing else to say about that game. That was a pretty one-sided game, all things considered, for Dignitas Academy, and I'm looking for what the adaptation from FlyQuest is. Can they keep us in a 3-game series, or is Dignitas going to take a 2-0 and continue their win streak from UGP all the way up here into Proving Grounds?
Oh yeah, and I do believe that we've got a break to come up before going into game number 2 here between these teams. So we are going to take a quick stall here, go get your drinks, go, get some water, stay hydrated, people. Make sure you're drinking water. Same thing to the players. And we'll be right back here with some more Proving Grounds on the LCS channel.